Good afternoon, colleagues, and also the representative from civil society. You do recall that the government of the Republic of Zambia and the civil society organizations met at the National Symposium on Sustainable Development from 11th to 12th August 2015 at Radisson Blue Hotel in Lusaka with the objective to strengthen stakeholder involvement in delivering national development and to develop a common understanding on the national development agenda towards the Vision 2030. The symposium deliberated and recognized, one, that though so much progress has been achieved on the economic agenda, the gains had not translated into poverty reduction, especially in the rural areas where the majority poor reside. B, the symposium also recognized that the development issues such as gender, disability, water, sanitation and health, youth, HIV and AIDS, environment, and nutrition needed to take prominence in national development planning for successful development outcomes towards attaining the Vision 2030, and that there is also need to strategically plan on environmental issues and coordinate climate change mitigation activities. C, the symposium further noted the significance to strengthen coordination of national development across and among all stakeholders and implementing entities. Therefore, it was resolved to develop a coordinated and comprehensive framework. D, it was reiterated that there was need to move from raw agriculture-based economy to an industrial one by way of promoting value addition, especially in the agro-processing sector, in order to create employment and fight poverty. E, it was reiterated that there was also need to reorganize the institutional arrangements and the legal frameworks for the achievement of equitable and sustainable development objectives. F, identified that there was also need to shift from a sectoral planning to a multi-sectoral approach with a regional development bias for effective and efficient development planning delivery. Furthermore, H, the symposium recognized the need to re-engineer the education system to allow for innovation tapping, sports facilitation for national development, holistic career guidance, revamp youth development centers in communities, improved access to educational services for the vulnerable, and improvement in skills development that is responsive to the general industry needs. H, adopted as a way forward to involve the youth in future planning, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of national development programs and projects. I underscored the importance of collaboration in investing in data collection and analysis with emphasis on disaggregation to ensure informed and thus comprehensive development planning by all stakeholders. Furthermore, the symposium resolved and was committed themselves to play their respective roles in order to ensure that planned reforms such as decentralization are implemented as a catalyst of speeding up national development. K, committed to providing leadership by all individuals and institutions in terms of accountability and information sharing in the development initiatives. I, further resolved that there is need to further improve the macroeconomic indicators and ensure they translate into improved social outcomes, as well as tie the foreign direct investment to domestic investment as a way of reducing the externalization of resources from the country. The symposium further resolved that there was need to do a SWOT analysis on the Zambian people, which would then inform the change of the mindset program aimed at positively changing our attitudes towards national initiatives and fully appreciate the Vision 2030 of becoming a prosperous middle-income country. The analysis would provide the much-needed data for critical thinking for the purposes of addressing the social challenges that we face as a country, and resolved to undertake similar endeavors at provincial level for inclusiveness and to enrich national character by giving notice to the voiceless in the national development process. Colleagues, these are the major issues that the symposium deliberated on and agreed that we should work together as a team, the civil society and government, as well as the other stakeholders, to ensure that at the end of the day, Zambia attains the Vision 2030 and we also reduce poverty. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, ST. I don't know whether Mr. Shindano has some words to share.
On behalf of the civil society organizations, has already been stated, those are some of the resolutions that came out and they were jointly done. So the sentiments of the Secretary to the Treasury represents the view of the civil society as well that were present at the symposium. But also just to re-emphasize the need for us as a country to work together. This is the aspect of the different stakeholders realizing that as a Zambia, we need to move together in one direction if we're going to achieve sustainable development. We need to bring on board the private sector, civil society and government, especially on issues that hinge on national development. And there comes a point, even us as civil society, where we advocate, but also come around the table and provide solutions in terms of what is it that we can do as a country together moving forward. And the symposium did provide that space where we brainstormed and analyzed and criticized each other, but at the end of the day, we identified key issues and agreed on certain prominent challenges that we are facing as a country and the kind of initiatives that we need to be taking. And as a result of that, hence the communique that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions from colleagues?
For you to come up with this arrangement, obviously you have observed that poverty levels in the country are still high, and the collaboration with government is always obviously a good thing. But looking at the way government operates and the fact that poverty is still high, how confident are you that this coordination will produce tangible results to significantly reduce poverty? Then for you, ST, in the short term, between now and 2013, government has a lot of pressure to repay the loans. How do you think this will impact on poverty reduction as you arrange such a coordination to reduce poverty? Thank you.
A number of issues have been identified as those that we are facing in terms of challenges as a country. And these include, as you're talking about rural Zambia, issues of how we can be able to improve our rural development, the issues of ensuring that our growth is broad-based, which also ensures that it brings on board domestic investment when you're talking about FDI, empowering of our Zambian citizens. There were a number of issues that were identified. And the fact that we are able to come together around the table and discuss these issues and be able to suggest solutions, that is a step forward. it's not always that we should be advocating out there. And as civil society organization, as we are advocating, which we obviously will continue doing, because that is our mandate as civil society, to keep checks and balances on government. But in so doing, we also need to provide solutions in terms of what needs to be done. And this avenue provides for that, where we're saying these are the challenges that we have observed during our work. One of them, for example, taking the case study of rural development, where we are saying in urban areas we are doing very well in terms of addressing issues of poverty, but if you look at poverty in rural areas, we're not doing very well. So what is it that we need to do in that direction? Then we suggest solutions in terms of saying, can we ensure that we enhance initiatives, even moving forward, especially in the 7th National Development Plan, and moving towards the Vision 2030, issues of integrating and putting rural development among the top priorities. And such kind of suggestions cannot come from us just screaming outside without coming to the table. Advocacy is multifaceted, and one of the avenues that we need to realize is that we need to bring those solutions to the policymakers. If the issues that we are asking for as citizens and as civil society are not getting to the policymakers, we will not be able to achieve the change that we desire. And therefore, we remain confident, and the fact that government has opened up to civil society and the larger public to say, can we engage? And the fact that they've realized that over a decade or so, where we've been enjoying good economic growth, poverty levels still remain a challenge. That is a good opportunity as well, which we need to take advantage of and say, how best can we work together to address this challenge? That recognition by government that this is a challenge that we have, and that they cannot do it on their own, and that civil society cannot do it on their own, private sector cannot do it on their own, and the fact that we are able to come together as a country, different stakeholders, and address the challenges that we are facing. And that's the way to go. And even if you look at the global development paradigm now with the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, they are calling for a multi-sector approach where the different actors of society are able to drive the agenda. There's a lot of emphasis on private sector development post-2016. But does private sector understand what we are placing on them, the burden that is being placed on them, and how is that going to be shaped? Does civil society understand now that the paradigm shift is moving towards private sector as the drivers of development? What role do we play in there? So all those policies in terms of ensuring that they shape and respond to poverty reduction have to be ensured that they get into the National Development Plan. As long as we are out there, we'll not be able to influence issues. Just to reiterate and re-emphasize, our role as civil society does not mean it's being diluted. We will continue our advocacy work, and we will continue to monitor government and provide positive criticism. And that is very important to do, and we'll continue playing that role. But we'll also ensure that we engage with government effectively so that the people we claim to be representing, their views reach the duty bearers, and the policies that we want to change are changed.
I think what you need to take into context is that government is not under any pressure to pay the loans. When we procure these loans, we do take a look at how much we can get at a particular time, the interest payments that are going to be paid, the tenor of that particular loan. So that is something that we plan looking at the medium term and also in the long term, so that come when the loan is due, we should be able then to pay it off. When the loan is running, we should be able to pay the interest. Now, is government going to fold its hands just by looking at the ordinary people out there without the basic necessities such as infrastructure for health, infrastructure for schools, infrastructure just to move the goods and from one end to another, infrastructure to increase energy output so that we all have light and heat at convenient times. So the government tries as much as possible to procure loans so that they can provide public goods. These public goods contribute significantly to poverty reduction. If you do recall, and even during the symposium, the majority of the people who are hit by abject poverty are in the rural areas. What do they like? Clean water and sanitation. They like schools. They like health facilities. There are no roads. Even if today they are going to grow their crops, nobody is going to reach them out to buy them. They do not have electricity. So when these loans are procured, what we try to do is to ensure that we also make available resources or open up the places that are hardly hit by poverty. And in that way, we want to ensure that at the end of the day, we can increase also the economic activities in the outlying area and create employment. So with regard to the stress on the Treasury, the perception that is there that, the government is stressed, they can't pay back this. We do a debt sustainability analysis, see if we can pay back the loans, see if we can meet the interest obligations. So that is being done, and it's not something that is cast in concrete. We do that on annual basis. We do a reflection of what we've borrowed, how we've spent this money. So the beauty of coming together, talking to the various sectors, including the press, the civil society, is to ensure that what we are doing is in the best interest of this country, in the best interest of the citizens. So that's the take. So I would perhaps encourage you to engage with us in much more dialogue to see what route are we taking. Why is it that we have the national development plans, the Vision 2030, and on annual basis we do the budget, so that things are done in a more ordinary manner in order to attain a particular goal, that is the middle income status. And when we are doing that, we want to embrace everybody. So as we move along, we must borrow, but we must borrow in such a way that we should be able to meet our obligations to our creditors. So that's the thing that we try to do here at the Ministry of Finance. So we'll try and do that to the best of our abilities, so that at the end of the day, we create a situation where the future generations should be able to say, look, the money that was borrowed was put into economic activities that later on contributed to poverty reduction, not only in the urban areas, but also in the rural areas.
Yes, please.
I want to find out whether in this collaboration you have put in some kind of a deliberate policy where you can gather come together after, say, a stipulated period of time to review how you are performing in terms of this collaboration, like to review, maybe check your weaknesses, strengths, and way forward.
I think what you're seeing today is basically the guidance. But before that, we have regular meetings with the civil society in the Department of National Planning, where we look at the various instruments. We need to have a roundtable discussion. They will table the reports, then we'll brainstorm. And then at the end of the day, when we start seeing certain variables emerging, then we would work towards having perhaps a symposium where we can now speak jointly together and get to the root cause of the issues that are coming both from government and from the civil society. So this has been this relationship is not starting now. It started a long time ago, and we are all resolved to make sure that we will continue along this path. For your one information, one of the resolutions reached yesterday was to broaden it up and perhaps bring on board the private sector.
All right, thank you so much.